Okay, let's get this thing started,
All
man.
right, brother. Oh,
What's going on, dude?
right. Oh man, come and hang out with you, buddy. You know, rocking and rolling, dealing with interesting clients, to say the least. And like every person that deals with clients, you get some good ones, and you get some bad ones, and you get some ones in between. And just go with the punches, man. Just keep it rolling.
Well, thank you for making time and not being too busy.
Oh, not for you, T. Not for you, buddy. It's a pleasure, man.
I'm glad you had some time on your hands to do
Yeah,
this
dude.
as opposed to
Absolutely. Absolutely.
opposed to your other clients who aren't as
Yeah.
professional. But anyway,
Da, 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 da.
so I brought you on here for a couple reasons. Might have left my note. It doesn't matter. I have had a couple notes around here somewhere, but fuck it. We wanted to discuss like the importance of physical media. That is a topic that
Yep.
I have been dealing with in terms of trying to find stuff and add stuff to my collection, whether it be movies or music or books or whatever the case may be. Just having something physical.
Right.
You had recently purchased the Heralds of
Of
Oblivion,
Oblivion.
CD, which is kind of right behind it. I don't know if you can grab it. Either way, basically, you found it at like a thrift store or something.
I
like
did.
That?
I was with the family. We had to go thrifting because I was like, I still love CDs. I love the hunt of and the discovery of finding stuff at thrift stores, and plus you can find anything at a thrift store. So we were in San Clemente, and they had three. It was three thrift stores next to each other, right? And so I cruised in there. The first one, they had like just a couple little CDs, and they're like $5 each. And then they have a downstairs. So I went downstairs, and then I was cruising around, and they had like a piano in there. They had some musical equipment. They had a guitar amp. I was looking at them. Like, that's kind of cool. And then I walked all the way to the back of the books, and I turned around. They had a bookshelf just full of CDs. I'm like, oh my god! So I was digging through. Hold on, man. I know it's right here.
It's somewhere behind you.
Here it is. Here it is. So it's the Heralds of Oblivion. I was in shock that they even had it. I mean, it was near the end because they didn't have like a lot of metal. There wasn't a lot. They had like they had a Soulfly album. I got that AC/DC album, and I grabbed that one thrash band. I forgot the name of that thrash band, but that Heralds of Oblivion, man. And I remember leaving. And I'm like, there's no way, dude. I'm gonna go back and get this because you're the first person I thought of because I already owned it. I've owned it when I was a kid, but I was just amazed because it came out in '93 and it was in such great condition. And so I walked to the dude in the back because the CDs up top were like $5. I'm like, I'd buy this for $5. And I was asking the guy, yo, man, like, how much are those CDs? Oh, dude, they just came in. I'm like, well, how much are they? And they're like, $1? I was like, okay, cool. Let me go back. So I went and grabbed a couple of the CDs, and I was just in shock, man. Like I pulled it out because every time you buy a CD anywhere, you just want to pull it out physically, see if there's any scratches or anything. It looked brand new. I'm like, probably never even played it. Pulled it out, looked at the booklet. I'm like, booklet for being how old it is was in great condition. And I don't know. Once again, I was grateful because you're the first person I thought of. And I'm like, I text you, hey, man, you got this Heralds of Oblivion Volume 1? No. I'm like, well, you got it now. And it's cool because there's 5 bands from Los Angeles. And a lot of those bands don't even exist anymore. And so it's a great part of history. And if they didn't do it, these bands would just be non-existent. And it's like, yeah, cool that you can put everything online, but if you got thousands, hundreds of thousands of albums online, how do you get to find them all? Who has the time to go through them all? Unless you have a friend like, hey, like, this morning you're sending me all these cool demos, and but like when you have a physical something in your hand, you're like, oh, I'm more likely to put this in my CD player. I still have a CD player. I know you still have a CD player. I know a lot of people don't have CD players. But that's their problem, not me. And so I'm more inclined to pop it in. And I have a CD player in my car with like subwoofers, and I can listen to my music loud in my car, which is great. And yeah, and that's what kind of sparked it. It's like, I know my band, we got like 500 albums, CDs physically. I know a lot of people don't collect them anymore, and I kind of just giving them out as like tokens. It's like, even if I want to have a CD player, just know that I put a lot of love into this with my friends and a bunch of artwork. I did all the artwork, so it's even if you want to listen to the music, the booklet has all my art, did all the layout and everything as well. I'm like, just look at it as that, not as just junk, or everybody trying to declutter. I'm like, yeah, but yeah, go ahead.
I want to add to this. I want to add to this conversation. I just with this question, do you think that applies to like DVDs and Blu-rays? So like,
it's super important.
Where I'm coming from. So say like, I will spoil it for everybody. We're working on a film together. I'm in the midst of like doing interviews for it. It's gonna kick ass,
right?
Because I'm doing it. So it's
absolutely.
gonna kick ass. Now, so say when the film gets done or whatever, we press them on DVDs because we will.
Yep.
Because I'm a physical media whore and need to see what all the shit I've done on my shelf.
Absolutely.
That's just what it is.
Absolute same.
So if we're going to be getting copies of it. So when you start handing them out to people, I think they're more inclined to watch it.
I agree.
Than like it, because here's where I'm going with this, right? Because I think movies are more accessible to like new people than heavy metal or whatever the case, or death metal. Like there are only certain people like those genres of music,
right?
Understandably,
a small group of people.
But I think when you can apply that into like a more accessible format, like a movie, and then hand it out to Blu-rays and DVDs, I think they're more inclined to give it an opportunity than like what you're saying of like, yeah, I put a lot of love into it. You can use it as a token. Yeah. I just think they're more inclined to like watch the film and then learn. Oh, I'm actually into this because of the humanistic side of things, and then they get into heavier music maybe because of a film. So I guess what I'm trying to ask you is, do you think it applies differently to if you handed out DVDs to people, say, of like your work as compared to like CDs of your work?
Well, I think it also depends on the individual, right? Because we came in from an era where that was the norm, right? Like you'd go to a record store or you go to a bookstore, and I would imagine yes, because every time somebody sends me a DVD, once again, because we're from that era, so yes, maybe like my son's age or my daughter's age, maybe not so much, but maybe wait until they get older. But it'd be like, say somebody gave you 1,000 gold coins or 1,000, whatever the gold coins would be worth, say $10,000, right? Just little gold coins. Or you got 10,000 in crypto. What would you much rather have? Would you want the physical gold coins, or would you want the crypto?
Yeah, I would want the gold coins.
Right. So, in the past, for me, I've had external hard drives just blow out, just not work anymore. So I've lost a lot of content. I lost like movies, music, some of my artwork. So that put a real bad taste in my mouth. And then also, too, certain movies are now being edited. And then when they're re-released, I'm watching certain movies and stuff. I'm like, I don't remember that part, or I thought there was another part to this. And it's not until you get the DVDs and you rewatch it, and you're like, oh yeah. And plus DVDs have commentary, right? You go in and they have like the artwork. They'll have like, there's just more stuff into it as opposed to something streaming. Because, like a few times back, we talked about Napoleon Dynamite, right? Love Napoleon Dynamite. So my daughter just got her into watching Napoleon Dynamite, and I was mentioning how they're on the DVD that there's an extended version where Kip gets married to LaFonda. And as I was talking about it, the movie did its credits, and then that part came on. And I was like, oh, well, there's another part where he gets some trout, and then gives it to I forgot the girl's name. Debbie, yeah. And I'm like, oh, but that's not on there unless you had the DVD to then watch it. So I was trying to explain to my kids like the importance of it. Cool, yeah, sure, declutters, I get it, sure. But I don't know, when you walk into somebody's house and they got nothing in it, no pictures on the wall, no posters, no nothing, and you're just like, where's all your stuff? What's the stuff that makes you happy? I'm like, I don't know. I like making the things. I like owning the things. I like picking up the things. I like putting the things in the things. I like it. I'm not a minimalist. I'm a maximalist. I like all the stuff. And so I don't like the idea, like we're talking about, being in the band, right? Like, say my band Fishing for Neptune. Like I feel like I'm the only one that actually pushes it. And I don't know, when I die, that it dies with me. The other guys, they don't. They maybe, I hope, maybe their kids might pick it up and like let people know that it exists, but I doubt it. At least at this point in time, and but at least I have the CDs. Somebody might be able to like one day go to a thrift store and like, what is this? And then hopefully they fall in love with the album, like I fall in love with so many other albums in my life. Like I wanted to do a podcast just on thrift store finds of all these albums I found just on thrift stores. So many great bands I never would have heard. And then when you go search them out, they're like, oh, they got 10 albums. I'm like, I've never heard of this band. Like cool. Then you can go, you can do a deep search. But even then, there's just too much content. I don't even do that anymore. Like it's just too much. Like the bands that I like, if they come out with new albums, it's hard for me to. I'll listen to them. I know there's access to them. But I'm just like, I'll find some other stuff because there's so much, I'm not saying to discredit the bands or whatever, but there is so much content. But if somebody was to hand me an album, a CD, I'm like, oh, I'm totally good. But if you sent me like 15 links, I'm like, I'm already exhausted after the third,
Oh, dude, I don't even open up the first. No offense, dude.
Right. So that's right. And I think that's all of us. I think we're all like that. So I got friends that I send them music, but I only send them one song. I'm like, you just listen. I just want you don't have to listen to the whole album. This is a song I really enjoy. You should check, or the video. Just check out the video. Just play it in the background, see what you think. But I don't do that anymore because I get overwhelmed. I know other people get overwhelmed. So, and like I say, there's so much content. How do you cut through the noise?
Well, yeah, and I think when even handing somebody like a CD or whatnot, they might not enjoy it just because of you haven't sold it to them. Like, what is this kind of thing? But I figured if like you hand them a movie, they're more inclined to watch it because like everybody likes a movie or a film.
But we're at the age if they even have a DVD player anymore, right?
Yes, that is true. But chances are, if you're handing somebody a DVD, they've probably already told you like that they have. You'd hope you haven't just randomly handed some.
And you also have game consoles that you can play DVDs through that. Right. So, but a lot of the new consoles, they're giving you options to not have that in there.
Well, yeah. Basically, what it is I explained this on a previous podcast with our buddy Josh Smith.
Shout out to our boy Jay.
I love Josh.
Same.
Basically, you pay for the license. You don't pay for the actual game. Like you see behind you, see all those video games. Like I own those. Those are
You go buy a house.
Like I own
all
those.
The Xbox ones.
That's right.
Out. I own them all.
That's right.
And I can give them to my cousin or my nephew. Give them to whoever. Say if you had Xbox One, you haven't played this game, check it out, dude. But they want to make more money off it.
Yeah, but it's also hurting the industry because a large chunk of that revenue was in physical product, and they've just tried to dissuade people from purchasing it, which is weird. But the double-edged sword is that they're losing money because of it. So it's kind of like they've done it to themselves.
They did do it to themselves.
When I gave you a copy, because I didn't know if you had it, of the Sideshow film with the commentary track.
Right, I didn't have the commentary track.
Yeah, it's like did you check?
I haven't had a chance to check it out.
Okay,
not yet.
Okay,
because Vallejo wasn't.
I won't put you on the spot.
But I only had Jackson. This weekend I didn't have Vallejo,
gotcha.
So I want to see it as the whole family.
Okay, well I won't put you on the spot or whatever. So basically, it also gives the viewer like another opportunity to watch the film differently than say like watching it again.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
It can come at it at a different angle of like, oh, I didn't know that fun fact. Now every time I watch it, I'm gonna know exactly what how that came to be or what that's supposed to represent or mean or.
Well, and it's cool too because I was able to hook up Sherman with that Big Island Metal Bash in Hawaii.
Well, yeah, those are other aspects that have come from doing the film, right?
Right.
We could talk about that all day of like
Oh, the interconnections.
It's mind blowing.
Right,
We can definitely get into that. But I was merely just saying, I think to reference your point about commentary tracks, and like it just gives other it gives people another opportunity to watch the same film, but just from a different angle, so they appreciate the film more.
Yeah, it's more in depth.
Exactly.
I enjoy it because especially if it's a film you love, and I wish they made a second one, or whatever it is, and you're like, oh, but I think they might have commentary on it, and then I love to hear the stories. We all love stories, and learn a lot of different things, right? So I went online, and then they had the making of Napoleon Dynamite, and I thought that was really cool. Certain parts of it.
It's fun, dude. Again, when you put in the sideshow film, I don't want to spoil everything, but I purposely went out of my way to like film a lot of content for the bonus features because it's fun.
Right,
That's the
super fun.
only opportunity that you have to do that.
Right.
So like case in point, we did Q&A at the after party for it. I had my dad film that so
Right.
that we could have just in case. And then we also filmed, the premiere of the movie.
Yep,
right?
that was bitching.
Like it's only going to happen once, so we want to
Absolutely, yeah. Document it.
document it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's more fun for bonus. I already knew I was going to use it as bonus content and
Right.
put something cool together. And then I had never done a commentary track. I want to do one for the Heretic film. I need to make that happen.
Oh, you should. How are those guys doing? You talk to those guys?
They're doing good from what I can tell.
Yeah, I think the singer, he was at the sideshow when Valet was there during Halloween,
Oh, okay.
right? I remember because I'm like, oh, I know this guy.
That's right. Yeah.
yeah, I'm like, oh, if I didn't watch the document, because once again, I didn't know the band. I had no clue what the band was until I watched the document because you're showing me before you kind of release it. I was able to see
that text message was one of my most proudest moments of my life, dude.
Oh, working with them.
No, just the whole your text message, dude, of like this is mind you.
Oh, it was great.
Of your review.
Oh
of
my
it,
God, yeah, absolutely. It made me want to listen to the band. Like I was like, dude, this is really cool. All the guys are really cool. It's fun that it's part of Los Angeles history. It was it was relatable. I'm like, oh, because you hear all the bands we worked with and friends with, and they're on the level that they were at, And so it's fun to see him. I was like, "Oh, dude, I know who you are, man. You're on Heritage, singer for Heritage." Because he would have just been another metalhead to me if I didn't see that DVD. I remember, and I told him about that, and he got really excited, and he was just all stoked about it. And it's cool because then it gives a new generation, of other people an opportunity to discover them.
Well, case in point, dude, my 90-year-old grandparents, who had they're not into heavy metal.
Sure.
But maybe because I did the film, so they were inclined to watch them. But they really enjoyed it. Like they did, because they're from like that area, the Gardena, Torrance. Like they have
gotcha.
history in that.
Gotcha,
they were
gotcha.
learning all about like their specific area, and I thought that was really cool. That it wasn't. It just showed that like you don't have to be into heavy music to appreciate.
Yeah, it's a story.
It's a story,
right? It's a story of human beings coming together, making a thing.
So that's why I posed the question to you of like I think if you handed people like a movie or whatever, they'd be more inclined to watch it because they don't have to be into this said specific like genre of like music to get into to get exposed to it, I guess is my point.
Right.
Because that's what you're trying to do is expose them to like what we've all done and what we're passionate about. And so I think because of that, I think it's more important to be doing what I'm doing than like say just like playing music or. Because we don't have anything. It's just we don't got anything.
No. Well, we definitely don't. That's true. There's plenty of bands, not enough documentation of the bands.
That's
unless
right.
the bands themselves are on a higher level that they're able to pay somebody to make something for it.
Right.
you know, or like
But
I know
there's so many stories here that
there's
aren't.
there's a skillion of them, and that's what's weird about it to me because uh, you see on Disney that they had that for the Beatles. It was like
Which one?
6 hours. It was on Disney Plus.
I know, but they made so many
There was the
Beatles
one,
stuff.
yeah. It was
8 days a week. They've made like the
it
one.
was the newest one. It was the newest one. I think I remember it was a big director that put it together.
Ron
But
Howard.
it was something like that. Probably was. It was all different colors, and it was great because they. I've seen a few of them, but that one specifically, I was like, dang man, like I learned a lot about the Beatles and a lot of the turmoils that they were dealing with. Once again, my band had nothing, no, but I'm in a band, right? Or is in band. I don't know. It's gray. It's a gray area, but there's a lot of things that is happening with the Beatles that I completely connected with, and I'm like, oh, I know. Why is Yoko in there, man? Like that? No way. It's for the band. You don't bring your wives and girlfriends. And I was like, damn, you're on that level, and you're bringing that type of energy when you're trying to work, like. Because we had a bass player who's doing the same thing, and I'm just like, yeah, I guess I'm all. She shouldn't really, unless she's gonna be like tambourine or something or playing a triangle. She shouldn't be in here, man. She's for me messing up the flow. My girlfriend at the time, she wasn't. I'm at band practice. Don't call. You know where I'm at. I don't want to be bugged. And that was really interesting. But I feel like there's so many people that have been in bands. Even if they're on an active band now, they've had that experience, and I'm really surprised more of the documentaries ain't happening. Just even like smaller local bands, as opposed to like with the Zeppelin and the Doors, and say death metal. I know they got the Death one, Chuck Schuldner's on Hulu. They have that one, and they have like Metallica ones, and which are all fine, are cool, but like. I like the smaller bands, like a lot of the bands that I love. I wish they'd make one for like Entombed and like Grave, like all these other like Morbid Angel. I know they have some of them, but I would like Suffocation. Like there's so many band changes and different eras. Cryptopsy. I mean, we could just go on, man. Like it's Immolation. But like all these bands are great bands. They might have documentaries on them. I don't know, but if not, they really should have. Nile, like another one. Like so many great band. They got great, amazing members, and they broke up, and things have changed. And I think it's really important. And I'm really surprised that just the bands themselves just hires a couple kids out of college. But hey, man, should do a documentary just to preserve this because everybody's getting old. All those bands I mentioned are getting older. Obituary. I know Cannibal Corpse did a really, really cool one, but they're like one of the top death metal bands. You should have one, But yeah. But so it's cool to see the Heretic one, and I'm glad you did it because you're like, oh, I've never heard of this band. They're super solid for the style of music, and
They're also interconnected with all these other bands.
Absolutely.
That's why I thought the only complaint that I have that I would go back and correct maybe when I remaster it 10-year anniversary or something
right.
Re-release it. I would like to add more music into it because
Sure.
I didn't know what I was doing.
Sure.
So,
but you know what?
I think the story is fine. There's other things I would have.
Well, here's the beauty of the internet. Like if you want to know more, you just Google it, and then it has all their music.
But then like, I would much rather watch a film and get to know like the said
on your
artist.
30th documentary. I'm sure you'll figure it all out.
I know. It's one of those things where like
leeway.
It was only the
a learning
first
curve.
Right.
There's a learning curve to all of this.
But I don't think they were bad. I'm
like
really
I told
proud
you.
of
like
those.
I said, man. Like I was impressed with it. It made me want to go check out the band. And I did check out the band, and then.
It was also important as an artist, though, for me to be able to do that. And I could do this. This is awesome.
I remember all the things that you learned because you shared it with me, and a few things I was like really shocked about. I was like, oh, okay. You thought a band on that level, on that label, for sure would have done X, Y, and Z, and they didn't. You're like, oh, okay, noted. I'm glad my band did.
Well, even on going into learning things when it comes to filmmaking, there's a lot of lineage with all of us in making movies. Like, I didn't know you were a part of did stuff for Hollywood, and this person did stuff for Hollywood, or this person's family has lineage in this area. I'm like, oh, that's like a whole other level. I'm like, it's interesting. I'm like, we played tons of shows together. I've known you for so long. I'm like, and then all these years go by, and I'm now learning like new things about you. I'm like, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Case in point was Leah.
Leah, our friend Leah. You just showed me some of her stuff.
When we did the when we did it is a team effort making a movie. It ain't just all me. But when we did Sideshow, and I was telling Leah basically as like a bonus, because I was originally doing like a 20-year thing of 2000 till now or whatever of like the scene history, and then I just got like. I'll probably revisit it at a certain point, but I just got really fed up with like the lack of support from bands. Like it was a lot of ego, not enough like the story wouldn't have been like what I wanted to tell because of too much of like me, and it's like, yeah, it's not about you or this, that, and bands weren't helping bands and this, that, and it's like, so I'll revisit it maybe in due time. But I was also interviewing. Part of it was I was interviewing, just like I wanted to get stuff on like Bionic Records and like stuff on how the importance of rehearsing for bands, and just back to the basics, and
having a space to rehearse, just like Sideshow.
So when I approached Leah to do that, I had told her that I was wanting to interview Sherman from Sideshow, and then she mentioned an offhand comment of, "Oh yeah, I made a movie there." And I'm like, "You made a movie?" I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna talk about this."
Right.
It led me into this whole other realm I would have never been able to go through. A whole other door I wouldn't have been able to open had it not been for Leah. And doing another film based on like something else that she happened to be a part of, and learning so many new things about our friends and like the people that I love in my life.
Yeah, no, I can say it. You just showed me some of her films, and
they're not available.
Yeah, and I was actually really shocked that I've known her for many years, and that never came up once. And I was like, man, I'm really surprised you didn't do like more music videos, because I imagine a music video would probably be a lot easier than making a film.
Well, I was hoping that maybe she would have sold, some copies at her table with her comics to like tie it in, because she was doing films based on her comics.
Right.
So it would have been a nice tie-in.
That would have been great. That would have been a great tie-in.
DVD package with the
comic.
The comic and
DVD.
No,
because you could even do a small comic.
$25.
Totally.
I would have
throw some stickers,
I
maybe a patch in there, a button.
But I wouldn't have known any of this had it not been for me making movies.
Right.
So it's just like, that's
true.
It's really
true.
interesting.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have known about your Pirates of the Caribbean thing.
Oh yeah.
Had it not been for like doing a movie about you. Like I wouldn't have known.
Yeah, I did that. I did Van Helsing. I did Charmed. I did a bunch of like a B horror. My first one was Behind the Walls of Sleep. It was a cheesy B horror film. Skinwalkers, Timber Falls, The Priest. Yeah, I think all of them so far. Yeah.
Case in point, so you've done like big things, right? And it's just interesting. Like even on that level, you still work with unprofessional people, either above you or below you. Like you can't escape unprofessionalism.
Can't escape it. Yeah, it's
just wild.
It's way wild. Yeah, people just hammer it out, and somehow they get things released and done, and
well, they also have other people that do it for them.
Yeah, and budgets always help.
Yeah,
budget's always a big help. You throw money at things, and somehow stuff gets fixed.
That's right.
That's quite impressive. But yeah, it was cool. Yeah, it was okay. I like, my thing is, I don't want to have to go to a studio and sit there, and I don't like the idea of like all the work I put in there, then they own it. that put like a real sour taste in my mouth. I'm like, what do you mean? You're gonna keep all my originals? Like, I don't know about all that. And then you're just locked in a room full of bunch of other awesome artists, and then you're just like, once you're done with they're just, hey, next, and you're just like, and then your name doesn't really get anywhere. Like, no one really sits through the credits, to look for conceptual artists. Some people do, but not like the majority of people. And I'm just like, at least if I'm working with doing an album cover, I'm the only person doing the art, and at least my name will be attached to it somehow, and I like that idea better. That was more of a, and plus I'm more passionate about music than I am movies.
Well, yeah, but you've been exposed to that, so I just found it fascinating. I'm like, I didn't know this about this individual who I've known for like half my life.
Yeah, I never really talk about it. I don't, because it was so long ago. I'm just like, I don't want to be one of those guys back in high school, like jock from high school, like
Al Bundy.
Yeah, Al Bundy. I don't want to be an Al Bundy, man. I'm like, I did that at one point. It was cool.
Maybe it's different when you own it. So like with me, I would always be talking about like the band that I'm in and the films I've done. I'm all proud of all that stuff. So I'll always bring all that stuff up. People want to talk about it, but
yeah, it's usually I'll bring it up to. Not metalheads, just like people. Like, this is the things I've worked on. But once again, that was so long ago. I feel stupid even bringing it up. It's like,
I know
that was so long
ago.
I don't even.
News, but
yeah, I don't. I mean, would I do it again? Sure, if I had the opportunity. But am I searching for it? Not really.
No. Well, you did it at a time when like there's, things weren't what they are now. So
yeah.
It's a little different now.
Yeah, and I got lucky with it. I went to Comic-Con, and then this is right after I came back from Academy of Arts. I did some really nice pieces up there, and I had a splash page. Like back in the day, we just had one page on your website.
What the hell is a splash page?
Splash page is like, so on your website, it was just one page. It was just, I just had like 5 pieces of artwork and like my phone number and like my email address. And then I made some postcards, and a buddy of mine, we went to Comic-Con, and I saw an old figure drawing teacher, actually one of my favorite figure drawing teachers there. His name was Ron Brown. And I was just really excited because I haven't seen him in a long time. He has really great art. He's another great artist as well. And I was just like, hey, here's my postcard. And he was working in the movie industry at the time, and they needed more artists, and that's how I got the gig, was because of that. And then once I was there, and it was very short, it wasn't very long, they just have you do sketches. And once again, it was the first Pirates of the Caribbean. You're all, what, you're making a movie out of the ride? Like Johnny Depp's in it? Like, it was so, no one knew it was going to be at the level it's at now. Now they're on the 6th one or whatever, but you're like, how you doing that with the ride, And
well, it's been done before. They tried, and then they tried to do it with like the Haunted Mansion with Eddie Murphy. That bombed.
That was after.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, that was after. Yeah. So, but all those artists sitting in this room, like, we're all like looking at each other. We're like, all right, just pirate stuff. Okay, cool. And then, and at the same time, I was doing the Van Helsing stuff, and that was really fun. I really sunk my teeth more into that. It was more my vibes, the werewolves and the vampires, and it was funny. Like, one of my favorite artists at the time. Sometimes you don't want to meet your heroes, and then when you meet them, you're like, you're a whatever, man. I don't like being called dude, and this artist I really looked up to, he kept calling me dude. I was like, no, my name's Tony. All right, dude. I was like, oh, you're that guy. Oh, you're one of those guys. Okay, you ain't that good anymore. So that really put a bad taste in my mouth. The art director kind of put a bad taste in my mouth. Like, the whole experience was like, oh, this is gross. I'd much rather just stay at home, on the internet, work at my house, at my leisure, and just deal with, one client at a time, different client, and music. And plus, it's music. I mean, I'm more passionate about music than I am with movies. That's just how it is.
So, are you saying I can't call you dude?
I mean, you can, but you're not going to get a well response from me.
I don't know how many times I've ever called you dude. Usually just like tone.
Yeah. I don't know, man. Just, there's something, I don't like it. I don't like it when potential clients, they'll email me and they'll just put dude. I'm like, oh, right away, you got a red flag in my book. I'm like, you don't come up to somebody when you're trying to work with them in a professional setting and call them dude. It's just like, ugh, it's so gross to me.
I don't even like saying "Hey, man."
Hey,
It
man.
just-
I mean, I don't mind that. I do just a weird thing. It's just a pet peeve I have.
I always I like saying, hello. I'm talking about your first like inkling meeting somebody.
Oh,
Usually,
yeah.
like
I try to be as polite and
usually
professional
it's
as possible.
like hello, my name. Usually, hey is like something you use with like people that you have already known for years.
Right.
When I say hey man,
Yeah,
to
that's
you,
fine. Yeah, I have
that's,
no problem with that.
Usually it's just hey Tone.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, and once again, it was just, my first experience working in movies.
Yeah.
This artist, I've been a fan of this dude since I was a kid. I finally get to meet him. Right. I'm doing stuff that, because one of the things that people are having a problem with the bad pirates, they kept drawing them. And I'm like, oh, I sculpt too. I like to, I like to sculpt. And so I'm like, oh, let me get the pictures. And so they gave us headshots of all the actors that were going to be a part of it. And so what I did, I took it in Photoshop because we're just doing we're just doing graphite drawings and stuff, pencil drawings or charcoal drawings, just in a little room. And so they had a computer in the back with a life-size sculpture of Ray Liotta when I think it was like the Red Dragon or whatever, or the one where he's getting his brains eaten. So I was literally sitting next to that thing, and it was terrifying because it looked just like him, and it was like life-size. It was just stuffed in the corner. And so what I was doing, I was taking their headshots, and at every layer, I was putting all the scars, the guy with the wooden eye, like it was all on a layer. But it wasn't messing with the faces of all because the thing was, I'm like, what actor is this? Who is this? For me, it made no sense because it didn't look like the actors. I'm like, you're making this guy. It just didn't. It was weird to me. So I'm like, oh, I want to hook up the special effects artists, and so that's what I did. And then I did some like zombies and stuff. That's no big deal. A zombie's a zombie. Just how many different ways you can draw a dead person. A certain amount, but so that was my contribution to it, and they have a bunch. Like I say, they had a bunch of other rad artists doing it as well. But like I say, it was. I'm glad I had the experience. The mysticism's now defogged. Right now, you can go back and see how like another level of disappointment. Like unfortunately, life is just a chain of disappointments. Right, and that's one of them. That's another link in my life. Like this is, ugh. This is just an ugh in my book.
Yeah, I'm glad don't have to be a ugh in your book.
Oh, absolutely not. God, there's so many ughs though.
It's crazy.
Yeah, there is a lot. It's a shame too. But it's okay. I mean, it is what it is. After you get your thick skin, you get your like, you don't care attitude anymore because you're like, oh yeah, whatever. Of course it's gonna be shitty. I mean, what isn't shitty at this point in life,
Well, surrounding yourself with family and friends is what I'm.
Oh yeah, so. But I'm just when you go out and you work with projects and people, and especially like certain clients, like or certain bands, like you really want to work with, and then you have an opportunity to work with them. Like, oh, you guys are douchebags. Like, you guys suck, man. I don't know how you wrote such dope music. Maybe you have to tap into that energy to write great music, but as a human being, you suck. And like, I can't even listen to your music anymore because you suck, man. Like, that's all good.
How many people have we both met in that category?
It's like heartbreaking. You're like, yo, man, this is a small scene,
and now everybody's gonna know.
Oh, I mean, I'll tell anybody's face. I got a whole laundry list of ughs of bands. You gotta go away.
Yeah.
Go away. I could care less. I'm grateful that so many new bands pop up.
I was going to say, thankfully, there's like a plethora of.
Yeah, there's more bands. Good. Yeah, there's more. I can honestly say there's more good people I've worked with than bad, for sure.
Sure, and there's more great bands than like the bands that are just ugh. So.
Absolutely.
I will say though, I really am enjoying making movies compared to records, or I like having like the hands-on, full control experience.
Yeah,
that's just who I am, and not having to rely on other people. And it's just like
that's why I did art.
So nice.
That's why I didn't get music until later on in life because I don't want to wait on other people.
Well, that's why I do art too. It's just a different
right. Yeah, just a different medium.
That's right. It's really
but
fun,
visual
though,
artists.
man.
That's why I went this path. Like when I was a kid, like because I sat and thought about it. I'm like, oh, I want to be in a band, like especially death metal. I'm like, oh yeah, I want to do that. And then I realized I'm like, oh, but then it makes a lot of noise. It's really expensive. I need other people to do it, or I can just listen to it and just be behind my desk and just draw. I'm like, that just seems easier. I don't want to, and like I say, I was in a project with one of my oldest best friends and his brother. I'm like, I thought that would have been sure easy. And you're like, oh my God, this is one of the most difficult things I ever had to do in my life.
Especially when you're the guy like doing everything.
Oh, it's
dragging them along.
Dragging anchors, man. Dragging the anchors. And you're just like, I don't know why it's so hard. I mean, we all have families. I know it's expensive. We all got relationships, but it's like, it ain't that hard, man. There's billions of bands out there doing it. So how are they doing it and we're not doing it?
Well, at a certain point, you just get fed up. I got fed up.
You get disheartened. It just kind of breaks your heart. For me, it just breaks my heart. But I know, they're good. Once again, my boys, I love them to death. And I'm grateful for the experience, and I'm grateful we had made a cool album. But you're just like, dang, guys, like, we could make another one. It'd be super badass. We could make like 3 of them, be super fun. I still have all my equipment. And then I was trying to work on a project with another friend of mine. That was really heartbreaking, too. He ended up getting a relationship, and then that was it, man. And then I didn't want to do this project we kind of planned out to do. And I'm just like, yeah, this music business is for the birds, man.
Yeah, I like that there's not the filming thing is not as restrictive though. Like I don't have to. Oh my God,
absolutely not.
With being in a band, you're only subjected to like this one style of bullshit.
Yeah,
that's the other thing too.
Well,
if I didn't like my guys, I wouldn't be like wanting to play music. We're working on a new record as we speak. But things take time. It
takes time.
I'm working on my own thing right now, and
it's hard too.
I like being the hands-on, all the way guy for what I'm passionate about.
And it's going to get done.
Yes,
that's the thing, man. It's like I don't like to half-ass any project. If I start it, I have to finish it, or I just waste time. Like even if I wasted time in my head, I think I'd say a painting. It didn't really go anywhere, but at least I finished it. And if it didn't come out the best, I'm like, but at least it's done. It's like when you write a song, I don't understand why people write a song and never record it. Like just record a shitty demo of it just so you have something to show. A lot of bands don't even do that. You're like, dang man, just release. Like we've talked about this, and just release it. It's fun. I want to hear it. You'll get my whatever minutes of my life just to check it out.
Well, there's some part of musicians or whatever that are just like want everything handed to them, and again, when you're the guy like doing everything, at a certain point you get fed up, man. Like, I need to change the scenery.
Yeah,
change the page.
Well, and also, I want more instant gratification. I work too hard for something to let it just fizzle out. That's why I like working with leather. Because I can get things done quick. Like paintings and drawings and illustrations, they take a long time. It takes like hours to do it. But like if I work on something with leather, I can probably bang it out in a few hours, and I have like instant gratification to it. And I know it's like a real quote unquote real skill. Like if it's post-apocalyptic, at least I have a skill that I can trade as opposed to like doing a painting. Like doing a painting, like artwork is, that's a specialty thing. It's not like it's. During a pandemic, you realize like, oh, that's not a, not the primary job. What they're saying, like, with all the people that were grocery stores and, there's a word for it. Like,
oh shit.
Like the job, like the matter, if you're a plumber, or you're an electrician, you work in the hospital, but first responders. Anyways, so during the pandemic, kind of made me realize that. I'm like, oh yeah, art is like
essential. What is it? Essential workers.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, I'm like, oh, I'm not an essential worker, man. Like it's almost like a luxury to have art made for you.
I've been telling you that for years before the fucking thing happened, dude. So
right, and so, but the thing is too, it's like, which is great. I'm grateful to do it, but kind of when the pandemic happened, you're like, oh man, this is probably the closest, knock on wood, is the closest of a post-apocalyptic experience that we're gonna have. I hope not, but that was the closest for me, and it kind of gave me like an eye-opening, like, wow, man, I'm glad I had this other set of skills, because playing music, I could drum, but it's not an essential skill for the society.
Well, even in going through that whole experience, I learned a lot too. It was actually really beneficial for me to go
Same.
through all those hardships, having you in my life.
Oh yeah, we're going through all that.
Tremendously,
Yeah,
like-
yeah, absolutely,
And then
Yeah,
finding
it's
other
tough.
skill sets where
absolutely.
and learning, all about like photography and that you can keep creating where it doesn't have to like be like music.
Yeah,
Like, you could do
particular
other
thing.
things
Oh, absolutely. Yeah,
in art.
that's the beauty about
And-
creating.
And you're still able to take all those skill sets that you've learned from music and applying it to another art form.
Right.
It's amazing.
Well,
Like doing an album and doing a film essentially kind of are the same
Yeah.
things to an extent.
Well, that's what I was saying about your DVD, your timing. You had good timing with it because you're a musician, and like you get it. You get the pacing of things, right? That's really important, because we watch some movies and you're like, the pacing's, oof, this is tough. They don't, oof, you're right. So that was a big help, and because you are a musician as well, especially doing a documentary with other musicians, the questions to ask,
Well, that came from this
yeah, right.
learning a skill set.
Right. Well, and then, but you can relate to it because you've gone through it. You're in a band, right? You play guitar. You know how hard it is. You know how much work it takes to record or just to meet up, right? And just to be like, just be all, I that one riff is cool, but I don't want to change my thing. I like what I, well, and then then there's an argument, there's just tension. And then you're like, I don't want to play this stupid song, but it's on the list. I hear it all the time too, and I work with other bands, and you get to see them at shows. Like, are you gonna play such and so? I love that song. No, so and so don't want to play. They don't like it. I'm like, yes, that's like your best song. So it's really interesting, man. It's that's why I have a lot of respect for people to pump out albums, because it ain't easy. I've
Well,
gone
just to
through.
pump out anything.
Oh yeah,
Albums,
do anything.
dude.
Yeah, pump out a movie. Pump out a.
Whatever it is,
write a
thing,
book.
Whatever you're doing a painting as we're
Oh
fucking
yeah, this is
talking,
just goofy. I'm just goofing off.
But I'm saying you're doing something. Right?
Yeah.
You're having fun.
Yeah.
making a thing.
It makes it. Yeah, I'm having fun. That's why it's like, I'm not worried about it.
You're hanging with a buddy and
Yeah,
doing your
yeah.
thing. That's what we do here.
Yeah, keeping busy, staying busy. But I think it's important too that the people that don't do anything, like creatively,
Dude, I went through that whole thing within the last year of not doing anything. There's benefits to it, but there's also a lot of detriment to
Yeah.
like not having a project to look forward to.
Well,
So, like,
I also feel too. We live in America. We live in Southern California, and I feel like if you're not, for me, this is my personal hang up or whatever. I feel like if you're not making something and being productive, then like you're almost worthless, right? Like you have no, like, how do you, when you go with a group of people, how are you benefiting them? Right? Like I always feel every time I'm hanging out with people, like what's my value to them? Like I can do X, Y, and Z. I have some sort of value. I'm not just a human being walking around with maybe a lot of interest but no skill sets, right? And it's like, what kind of value do I bring to the table amongst other people? And then when you hang out with people that are functioning on a high level, you're just like, ooh, I don't do that. Like I don't have that type of discipline. I don't have that type of drive. And there's also a drive with all this as well. Then that's special if you have a drive. I'm always kind of fighting myself with that.
well, yeah, and there's also times too where like you don't want to do anything, and that's perfectly like legitimate. It's perfectly like it's okay to
Right.
because there are times where it's like you're done so much, and it's like I just need a break. I need to like
just over it.
I just need like to disconnect from whatever this art form is and try something new or not do anything and then come back to maybe whatever it is, realizing what you actually want to do.
Well, I also think that's a curse of the social media too, because you just see all these other people just banging out stuff constantly. Damn, I'm not working hard enough, man, and so that always puts me in a funk, and it puts me in a weird spot. And then also, like, say making art, like my whole house is just full of it, and I'm like, what am I doing? Why do I keep making it? It's just it's almost it's overbearing at a certain point. And the odd thing about it, I want to do bigger paintings, but I'm like, I don't know what to do with them once I get them done, because if they don't sell, then I got to sit on them. And then there's a part of me, I'm like, I don't really want to sell them. I'm making them because I like making them. So it's like this catch-22, man. I'm like, it almost drives you mad, because you're like, at one end, you're like, I'm not being productive enough. On the other end, I want to be productive, but the end result, what do I do with it, right? Sure, I can hopefully sell it, maybe, but no one really buys. I'm not on that level, really. People want to buy like my originals, they want me to, I'm the guy they hire to make something for them to release, right? It's for them to make money on, to them to market, and they have a thing they want to sell to the world, and I help them with that, and I'm grateful for it. But when I'm doing it for myself, it's a lot harder, because it's just art. It's not no album attached to it or a book attached to it. It's just a piece. And people usually don't have like thousands of dollars to invest in, at least my style of art. Maybe if the landscape or abstract or something, because my artwork isn't for everybody, and it's not. You can't really just put it up in a home for like majority of human beings to be like, oh yeah, this demon, filleting this baby with the whatever it is.
Well, that's what was so genius to me about like Bob Ross, was like he had an outlet, meaning he was on television painting.
Yeah.
So he got to do painting and do it every week, whatever the case may be. But he had another avenue of, all he was doing was painting, and the cameras were rolling, and he was still making money off all that stuff, right? So it's like,
do you ever see his documentary?
No, is there a documentary?
There's a documentary on him.
Oh,
it's actually really sad. Because when he passed away, it's a beautiful documentary. Highly recommend it. And I didn't realize he had a son. And so
the son was on a couple episodes.
That's how I learned it in the documentary. And so somehow that his likeness got sold to like this couple, and that's why you're seeing all the chia pets and the socks and the t-shirts, and they're the ones making all the money off of Bob Ross, and apparently the son's not getting nothing from it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's real terrible, man. You're like, and because a part of me, I'm like, I love Bob Ross, so I want to support Bob Ross, but he's dead, right? Support living artists. But to me, I would love to have that money go to his son.
Yeah, he's getting exploited by these.
Yeah, this couple, and the documentary has it. It explains it all better than me. I didn't realize that, because I have a clock, I have a chia pet, I have a stuffed animal,
Yeah,
I have multiple.
things.
I have couple t-shirts, I have multiple socks.
I got a sweater.
Yeah. But I didn't realize that just this couple's making the money, and the son's not. So I'm like, oh, I can't be really buying Bob Ross stuff now anymore, because I'm like, no, that's
yeah. But even watching his shows, the couple probably still gets paid for.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So it's like a catch-22 of like,
right,
signing bad
damned if
deals.
you do, damned if you don't,
Yeah.
right? You're like, oh, it's a bum deal, and you're like, the amount of money that they're probably making on just his merch alone after he passed away,
dude.
And that's what it's like. Dang, I wish they were doing it while he was still alive, because that man worked really hard.
Well, the only thing that he made money off of was selling paints.
Yeah.
So like if you buy paints,
Which I did, and I still have his palette knife.
Oh.
He designed his own palette knife. It's the ones that he would do the little shacks with. Of course, I had to get that.
But I think that supports, because they don't own the rights. He would sell his paints. Like that's how he made his.
Right.
He didn't own like the shows or whatever.
Right, it's PBS, right? It
Yeah,
was a
PBS,
yeah. The documentary goes.
I want to watch
it. Goes
it.
through. It's really, really, really good.
Now,
especially you making documentaries.
Yeah. But now, when are we going to get the Hill Hauser documentary?
Is there one?
No.
No.
That's what I'm saying.
That's
When are
terrible.
we going to get that?
That's what I'm saying. That's once again, you just need. It blows my mind that we have all these amazing characters right, that have, let's just say for me growing up, have taught me so much, especially about California, right? Our boy there. And you're like, during that, but I think during that time, that wasn't really a thing as opposed to now where it's a lot easier to make a stuffed animal of you, make blankets of you, make a sweater. Like, I use certain companies, drop ship companies all the time. It's, you get one, I got my hoodie. I got one hoodie of the artwork I wanted. I'm so happy about that. And different t-shirts and, tapestries and stuff like, 30 years ago, that would have been very, very, very expensive.
Yeah.
And then you'd probably still have boxes of.
Well, no, you'd have to buy in order, like for a band, in order to have that on a T-shirt. There'd be a minimum of 50 T-shirts. Like, yeah, but I only want one for me.
Right.
So I gotta buy 50 of them and then hand them out to my.
You ever go to?
I'd love to have a Hill Hauser bobblehead. That'd be badass, dude.
Oh, that would be. Anything just fun to represent, just even a cool T-shirt.
Well, I still watch his programs on YouTube, and thankfully, like all of his stuff is being like it's just like Bob Ross. They show his episodes like 24 hours a day. I'm like, that's dope.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, and once again, they're great characters. They were. Just their demeanor, the way they present themselves on
Well, I'm just
TV.
a fan of all that stuff.
So I'm a huge fan as well. Guys, like I say, it's something safe to watch,
and it's real. Well, no, it's also like real. Like I like the realness of those two particular individuals, and maybe that's why I like documentaries in general because I feel like unless there's an agenda behind it, like Super Size Me. Right, like
that was wild. Yeah.
Like to find out that like, oh no, he was just an alcoholic.
Oh, that wasn't from McDonald's.
That was all bullshit.
No way.
Yeah, he was like an alcoholic for like 30 years, and he was still drinking during the making of Super Size Me.
No way.
And
I didn't know
he
that.
lied to the doctor. Yeah, I found out about it after he like died or something.
I didn't know that. I know he made another documentary after that
about chicken or something.
Something like that. Yeah. And then I know he passed away after that, but I didn't know he's an alcoholic. Oh,
but like, yeah, no, he like totally cheated people into like thinking that eating McDonald's that way. I mean, I'm sure it's terrible. I don't eat that stuff. But there's been other people who have tried that. What is it? 30. They've tried it like
for 30 days.
For 30 days, they did an actual study where somebody actually did, the same the 30-day of nothing but McDonald's stuff. And found out that like, oh no, you don't have heart disease and this that. There's been a couple of things.
Well, because I remember being a kid and seeing.
It was a big deal when it came out.
It was a huge deal when it came out. That's why they made the salads.
That's right.
Remember they made the salads after that, which were terrible.
Well, I'm surprised that like nobody got sued over it.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it was a good lie.
It was a
It was a good lie, man. He got away. I can't believe he got away with it.
But
I didn't know.
Yeah, there was like, there's an agenda attached to anything. I don't really want to watch it. I don't want to watch Food Inc. I don't want to watch things that like there's an agenda of like it's one-sided.
Right.
I don't like one-sided things.
Well, I think that's why Koehl and Bob Ross, they're so important. They were just saying, hey, love California. These are the little parts of California so amazing. There's some cities and landscapes and parks or whatever that you might want to check out.
Well, it was non-biased and like non.
Yeah, just talking about California. There's nothing else. There's no other agenda. He wasn't trying to sell shoes. He wasn't trying to sell sunglasses. You know what I mean? He wasn't trying to sell hats. It was just that's what it was. And same with Bob Ross.
He
but
loved to paint.
Yeah, he loved to paint, and he should be selling his own paints because that's what he's using. And because when I was a kid, I bought all that stuff. I'm like, yeah, they're all good paints. I mean, are they the best paints in the world? No, but if I'm learning how to paint, this is better than some of the stuff that they're selling at Michael's. And at that time, there was Aaron Brothers, but at least it got me into it. And I was able to watch his stuff and kind of understand how to better paint. Do I use those techniques today? Not really, but at least it got me in. He inspired me for sure. So that's why I bought all the things Bob Ross, because I'm like, oh, dude, like,
I want to watch that movie now.
Yeah, before I went to college, I had a couple art teachers, in high school and junior high, and they were cool. but they weren't really showing you how to oil paint. And like to me, oil paint's like the creme de la creme, man. Like you get to oil paint really, really well, that you're just on a whole nother level. Watercolors is great. Acrylics is fun. I'm using acrylics right now. These are fun, you know, but like oil paints, there's a level of sexy that no other medium can match. I've never experienced it. And I played with cell vinyl. I played with gouache. I played with all sorts of mediums, markers, you know, pens, graphite, charcoal, Contes. You name it, man. I have my hands on it. I've done something with it. But oil painting, oh.
It's amazing the skill set that you have. I don't think that people realize. Like you do so much. It's not just like as an artist, with any artists, just a level of talent that it takes to make a thing that's like so amazing, and it's only for this one client, and then whatever the client does with it, whatever. But like the fact that you do such amazing work,
Oh, thanks, T.
and are still like
Glad you like it.
like still treated like
Yeah.
not second class. I think that's a harsh term, but
What's less than second class? That's what I'd be treated
well,
as.
you know what I mean.
Yeah, treated like times I'm treated less than like I say a janitor, and I've been a janitor for 7 years of my life, so I know. I know.
Well, I'm just saying that there's a humanistic quality that takes advantage of like people, and they don't realize like what they have until it's gone.
Sure.
So what you're left with is once these people die, that's like when all the floodgates kind of open. It's like, oh, he was amazing. It's blah 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 blah. He's best work. Blah 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 blah. It's like, yeah where were you like when he was alive? Like, or he or she were alive?
They're just in the show. They're just busy with their own lives. You know, that's the only way you can chalk it up.
No, I think it has everything to do with like they just don't realize what the value of that particular individual until that person's gone. You know what I mean? Because case in point, when I was watching Huell Hauser, I fucking loved him. I loved everything about it. Like,
while I was alive.
While I was alive,
Yeah.
so I watched his shows.
Same.
And not a lot of people talked about it that I knew of, and then once he kind of crossed over or whatever, still nobody, like a lot of people talked about him until like years after of maybe because Bob Ross being popular or whatever, that whole thing kind of probably opened up the floodgates for people to discover other people that were on that show.
Well, and it was it only for California though? I don't was his like in Utah. Could you watch Huell? Like, was it?
I don't know.
I personally, I don't know. So, but I feel it was just he was ours, right? He was just for Californians. That's what I feel, and I feel like Bob Ross was for everybody.
Another guy that was like this that I haven't heard anybody talk about was a guy by the name of Ralph Story. So he was like a legendary like CBS like broadcaster who went on to like PBS.
I think you showed him to me.
And he did a program called Things That Aren't Here Anymore. And I'm like, okay. I love that concept of they were showing like the angel flight. There was like I got to show you this after the broadcast. Okay. It's amazing.
I never heard of that guy.
There was these things that like you can drive your car to before Irvine Meadows or whatever. There was like tons of animals that would like go on top of your car, like lions and fucking giraffes. And like
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. They used to have like alligator farms down here, and they also used to have ostriches. They had all sorts of wild stuff.
But I love programs like that.
Yeah,
like learning that. But this other guy, Ralph Story was like an older gentleman. He very fascinating. Just like the stuff that he did, and I just appreciate other people that aren't like big Hollywood actors. I find those people kind of disgusting compared to like some real people in terms of just like, oh yeah, this guy just wanted to make a thing.
It's also there's passion and a paycheck.
Yes,
I'm sure that cat was mad passionate about this. He's like, I know so much of this history. Should probably make a show of it. I think probably everybody around him just say how fascinating that was, and same with Huell, and once again, back to Bob Ross. That was that was his 'cause I think he was in the army or something like that. He was in the military, so that was, that was like his seva. That was his almost like his meditation, almost, which I think that's beautiful. Because at times too, I feel the same way when you get into a piece of art. Certain parts of it, like I always
That
feel
was a safe space.
yeah,
you
yeah.
can
I
do whatever
always
you want on
feel
that.
like when you do when I do a piece of artwork, it's 20% awesome, 80% work. It's like the first 10%, you're like, oh my God, I'm super excited. Then it just drags it. I'm like, oh, I suck. This is terrible. This is ugly. Oh my God. And then when you fight your demons and you battle your battles, and at the last 10%, when it's almost done, you're like, oh, this is it. That's how I feel about it. Just 'cause once again, I have to do this by myself. I don't really have anybody to help me with it. If I get hooked up on something, it's I have to problem solve it myself. I had a few friends if I really get in a pinch, but it's usually mainly business stuff. It's not really like art per se. It's always like, hey, I got this opportunity. I'm not too sure what to charge, or what's the legality. Like, what should I be? How do I cover my butt so I don't get screwed in the future, or they just take advantage completely.
It's so shitty, dude. That's what my point was, though.
A lot of
like
vampires out there.
The amount of talent that you have, and you still deal with that is
every day.
mind-blowing.
Oh my God, it's at this point it's comical. You just see it a mile away now. Now I'm just like, oh God, and then it's really interesting to me too. It's like, well, if I'm going to promote you, wouldn't it be good for you to promote me as well? It's cross promoting. You get some of my fans, I get some of your fans. We work together, and there's not a lot of that, man.
Well, there's a lot of, again, going back to
not a lot of that.
Going back to like why I stopped doing the documentary on the whatever SoCal metal scene or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah.
Me.
Yeah. And you're like,
what can you do for me?
Well, and the thing too, it's like,
and I'm not going to do anything with this.
Yeah. Well, it trips me out. I'm like, I've been here a long time, and I guarantee your band's not going to be here longer than my career. I guarantee it. Unless you're a bigger band and you started in the beginning.
Well, have you ever had, to go off this point, have you ever had a band, and it's probably a yes, where you did artwork for them and they were such a pain in the ass, and then they did nothing with it?
Oh my God. Plenty of them.
Dude,
I got plenty. I got tons of artwork that have never seen the light of day. And I'm just like, well, that's kind of a waste of time. I mean, great. I'm happy with the money, but if I don't get to show people work, then people don't know I'm working. So then I can't promote, because you're only as good as the last piece. Right. And that's another reason why I got into leather, because while I'm waiting, like just the end of last year, I probably did 6 to 7 projects, still not released. You're like, oh, one just got released, a band, but I'm like, I got 5 more that are just sitting there that I can't show because they haven't released it. And then it makes me look like I'm lazy. I'm like, no, I'm working. I promise you, I'm making stuff, but I can't show it until these guys. And then sometimes I forget. I'm like, oh yeah, I did that piece of. I probably won't share it. I don't like it.
You probably have tons of those with us too, where you're like,
no. Yeah, I only have. I would probably say about 5 or 6 pieces that I'm just like, I will never show this. But other pieces, it's my art. I mean, they're all a little different. It's, I think every artist.
I know. I'm just giving you shit because I'm here and I've commissioned you on a lot of pieces of artwork that I love.
Yeah, no, and like I say, I love doing them. They're super stoked to do them. I get different styles, and that's what's cool. I can do different styles for you, and that's kind of the idea too. I want to do different. I don't want to stuck with one particular. A certain artist, I'm like, oh, this all looks the same, man. Like, Jesus criminy. Like, you don't want to experiment a little bit, add another color at least. Dang, but whatever, man. I mean. And that's another thing too. It helps them, those artists, like if a client likes that style, they're guaranteed to get that style, and that's cool.
Yeah. I just don't like looking at like the same kind of pieces of.
Yeah. Same.
When I look at my discography, I'm going,
There's a lot of variety.
There's
yeah, there's a lot of variety. Absolutely.
And then I look at them going, oh, there's a lot of blue. Like, okay, maybe we won't use blue on the next one.
Right. We'll use purple.
We'll use orange.
We'll use orange. Yeah.
But
yeah. And I love blue too, man. I love, like, if I was my go-to, I love blue.
I mean, we use it for.
I'd say honestly, my favorite color is blue. That's probably why.
Well, that's my favorite color
okay,
too.
that's why there's a lot of blue, man. There's a lot of blue.
But going back to like just artists in general, it's interesting, and I get for a number of reasons why you don't want to showcase all of it. For me, I'm just proud of like all the stuff I've been a part of, and even if I don't like certain individuals or whatever, that thing still exists, and somebody out there likes it or will like it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Case like the Lost Lives series for me was super important. No matter whatever it sold or when people discover it or if they discover it or, maybe they don't like it. That's fine. But it was important enough to me to do it. Right. So I'm proud to show people that stuff. And it's with other artists, I guess they're just not as stoked on, or maybe they had a kind of bad history with that specific project, so they don't want it to.
Yeah, that's true.
And I get it.
I get that too. Yeah, like, I get to, once again, I have the blessings of working with a lot of bands, and I get to work with them before they release their album.
Right.
So once in a great while, I get to like talk to some of these guys, which is cool. I don't get to do it with all my clients, but a few of them, and then I just like to ask them questions.
Like
how the recording go? Like, what's some of the problem? Just because it's interesting to me. And I really wish there was more like of these bands documenting their journey with all of this. The goods and the bads.
Not even bands, but just artists in general.
Yeah.
Any artist. Going back to Leah, I mean, not to put her on the spot, I would have loved to have discovered her films years ago, as opposed to, they're not all of them are readily available.
Sure.
And that makes me sad.
Well, I mean, what's crazy is thinking about all of the art that's never been exposed just because.
How about all the music?
That's what I'm saying.
All
art.
the classical stuff that got destroyed, all the classical music that got lit up in fires, because those are the only ways you'll be able to discover all that stuff is.
During the wars and stuff like that, burning things up.
Right.
Yep.
How many hard drives or whatever are lost? Movies. How many movies are lost that you'll never be able to see? So it's important too to keep releasing stuff because the potential of like not being able to have it.
Yeah. So that's why. Yeah. Once again, like, get to work with a lot of cool bands, and then you'll see them live. Like, dude, those songs are not on your album. Oh yeah, it's gonna be on our next album, and then those songs are dope, and that band breaks up. But you guys couldn't come together just to record it and then be done with it just because you guys made it. And you're like, that's what breaks my heart. I'm all, just for the love of the music, put your egos to the side, just record your part and then be done with it. Just because you guys need to give it life. That's what the power of music. Like, all you guys, people involved, without all you together, it sounds. I'll give you a prime example. One of my favorite bands growing up was Lepra, right? One of my favorite death metal bands of all time. They did a live recording, right, at the Whiskey that I have. And there's 2 songs or 3 songs on there that are not on that demo, and they are so dope. And I can't find, there's no recordings of it other than that, and it just breaks my heart, man.
But at least you have it.
At least I have it, but that just goes to show, like, all other bands, like, there are some killer bands growing up. Like, we're talking about demos, right? I remember there was a band, I don't remember their name. It was like one of the first like death metal shows, being a kid. It was at the Anti Club on Melrose, and I only saw this band one time, and this is like 93, 92, 93.
Best era death metal,
right?
period.
And so these dudes were like the California old Cannibal Corpse lack of a better description, they at that time, I mean, granted, there's 30 years of bands coming out now, but at that time, these dudes were so heavy and so brutal. They had no demo. They had nothing. I don't remember they had no sticker. They had nothing. They just went, melted my face, changed my life. And I was like, oh, these guys got to come back around again because they were so good. And I went to a lot of shows at the time. Never saw that band. I never saw any other members. Like, they were just this aloof,
a ghost
band. But they were so dope. And I'm just like, yo, man, like, it's heartbreaking. I really wish, like, if you're in a band, just make a demo. Please make a demo. It doesn't have to be the best sounding. Just make something. You just have a record of what you guys put a lot of work into, man. Like, it's really expensive. You got to find a place to jam. You got to get all your equipment. Your time is valuable. You wrote a couple songs, and I think now, I mean, granted, this was like it didn't have all this equipment that we got now. Like, dude, just even getting your laptop with GarageBand, you can make a pretty sick demo with that, different layers, and you don't got to get Logic and all these other.
Well, you can.
You can, but you can make a pretty sick demo just on your phone. You can make a pretty sick demo, right? So there should be no excuses why anybody's just a demo. Don't gotta be the full length, but just to have something. So when your bandmates getting a tiffy and a little tizzy don't want to be hanging out with each other anymore, and you guys disband, at least you got something to show for your efforts.
It's true.
It really is true. And honestly, man, some of that's like we're talking about the demos. That's some of your best stuff, man. That's the most raw. That's the most like, that's where your heart's at the moment. Writing those songs.
I mean, some of those early demos, like
so good.
That Mortician demo, fucking amazing.
Yeah, the Amagordas, something Prelude to Evil or something like that gets the name of that. I remember talking about. And there's
Death's Mutilation demo, like that is like one of my favorite things ever.
There was a band called A Casket from Canada. Their demo's super sick. I got Disgorge from California. I have their demo. That's super nasty. Exhum's demo.
Autopsy's demo is fucking amazing.
That's what I'm saying. Like, there's this rawness to it that you can't capture when it's all polished. And no disrespect. I want the polished, but I also want the fucking raw. I want the just nasty. There's a nastiness to it that just you can't replicate.
Well, dude, case in point, I still to this day love the first ever demo that I did. For Galley or whatever. I still love that thing because of the sound and the heaviness. It was just a different time where we never sounded like that ever again. And like, I'm so grateful that we did that, like I could share. I have plenty of stuff in the vault too that I want to do a re-release for when it turns 20.
Cool.
In like 2 years.
Cool.
It'll be 20 years old, which is mind blowing. That's fucking mind blowing for me.
Well,
because I'm still a young man, so like anything that's like 20 years old that I've actually done, it's like, whoa.
When's the last time you went to a show and got a physical demo tape?
I don't go to live shows because I hate the scene.
I won't say I do that. I still go to a lot of shows. I go to a lot of festivals. I wanted to go to the one that they had one in Azusa this past Saturday, but I had my son with me, and it wasn't all ages. I totally would have brought him.
Yeah, if I go to a show, just so everybody knows, is making this full transparency here, I have to really like you in order for me to go, or I go to. Maybe I'm working on a film. I need some footage or something. That's when I'll go. I don't just go to shows just because I don't care. I just don't care.
I love it. I love. Well, there's a bunch of new bands I never heard of, so I just like. I'm always. It's like I'm chasing the dragon, right?
Yeah.
Like I'm always.
I'm done chasing that dragon.
I still want to find the new band that just be like, oh, dude, you guys are so sick. Because I know they're out there. Because there's a lot of great bands out there. I still love the music, but I don't get out there enough. Especially living in Orange County. Like, damn, you want to talk about a desolate wasteland for music? Like, I can't. Like, I guess the Doll Hut.
All of music in general is suffered tremendously, but Yeah,
I just would, but my thing, I still love it.
and that's cool. And no disrespect. Dude.
Yeah, yeah.
I
No,
have
I
to.
get it. It's not for
I
everybody.
personally have to really like
even
that.
when I was a kid, it's not. No, I had to drag. When I was a kid, I had to buy my friends tickets, just because I didn't want to go alone. Just because I'm like, dude, you guys at least just. Even if you don't want to listen to the singer, because I can't hear what they're saying, I'm like, just watch the drummer, if anything.
Well, there's also a lot of people that now I know who they are, and it's like, oh, I don't want to go see.
Well, no, it's funny. I'm the opposite. So there's some friends that I have that I know are touring through. And I'm like, oh, I gotta see so and so, man. I love that guy. You know,
that's different. I'm talking the opposite effect of like,
sure,
knowing who.
Well,
the internet's ruined a lot of things for me.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's just like in any scene, no matter what, you could be into golf. Right. You can have your.
It's just personalities. Like I'm done with personalities.
Right. And then, well, yeah, just I mean,
I want to support good people.
But it's in everything. Yes. Like even with movies, like you're making a movie, I'm sure there's gonna be certain actors and directors and editors, and there's in animation. You're right. There's a certain. It's just with everybody. There's certain people you like that you just naturally vibe with.
That's right.
And there's certain people you're like, you're repugnant. I want nothing to do with you. And if you die, that'd probably be a good thing. Not to be an asshole, but like, there's certain people that can just disappear, and I'm like, I'm cool.
But I have to really love the art form, and
right,
and the art form that I really love right now is making films.
Yeah.
And so because of that, I've done the band thing, and like I still do the band thing, but I don't need to go to shows. Like there's 3 other people in the band that could go to the shows for me.
It's usually for me
and support it.
For me, there's. I still do live art, a lot of music festivals, and so I get the blessing to see a lot of bands, right? Just like in 3 days, you're like, oh my god, I've seen like 50 bands. Like in 3 days. That's a lot of bands, right? Like that's a lot of just sitting there painting while every band's cruising up there. Now, if they were to go to tour, would I see them? Unless it's a band I really, 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 really want to go see, because it's just expensive, man. Like,
well, that too is the other thing, man.
Yeah, there's a band I want to go see at the Regent, and dragged into Sunlight, dragged from the UK.
Okay.
And would love to see them, but like their ticket prices are a little more than I'd want to spend. Not that they don't deserve it; they totally deserve it. They've been around for a long time, a great band, but. You calculate the ticket price. You calculate your parking, you driving, food, right? Gas, all that. I gotta buy a CD if they have a CD. If they're on tour, I gotta buy a T-shirt. I'm looking at $150 plus night.
On the low end.
On the low end. That's what I'm saying. On the low end. On the low end. And
that's the thing too. I'd much rather just save that $150 for like dinner and a movie or something.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, like something else. That's
true.
Not this.
Well, that's why for me it's important if I get to do live art at these events. I'm like, cool. Like at least I have an opportunity to try to even out not the loss, but like because it costs a lot of money to move around in Southern California. Just to move to point A to point B, and everything's far. Everything's like an hour plus, right? And then you talk about the maintenance on your vehicle. Once again, if we're going to L.A., your time. Well, then you go to L.A., you're like, I have no problem paying for parking because I don't want my car to be broken into. Like it's done multiple times. Like my car L.A.'s a tough place for me, man. Like I love you, but also part of me, I'm like, I can't leave my car out. I can't leave my car. I don't want you breaking in my car. I have nothing really in my car. So, like, you're not going to get really nothing out of it other than me. I have to pay $400 to get a new window, and you, whatever, taking my junk out of my car. I've had it happen multiple times, or get it towed. Like, what do you mean it's towed? I didn't see a sign anywhere.
Yeah, dude,
it's miserable. And it's like, certain parts of it, especially in metal, you're like, this is a rough area, man. Like this is, I don't want to bring my partner. I don't want to bring none of my friends, because this is, I feared for their safety. Me, I'm cool. I've been to a lot of these events. I know how to navigate through it. It's fine. I usually have like change on me to give to here you go. Here's some change. A couple bucks here. I don't care about that, as long as they don't trying to break into my car. But the thing is too, it's like, when you're going there, and if you just go by yourself, like, oh. I like to go, like when I was a kid, I used to have like a couple I have like 4 people I should be able. I can rotate through, and it's always so much fun to go with somebody else. And you go, do you remember that one time? And especially if they're into the same band that you're into, because most of the time they're just like, yeah, I'll just go to a show with you because I'm bored. And then I'm playing the record on the way to the event. It's like, yo, this is the band we're gonna see. Check them out. Hopefully you're going to get pumped up because this is a rare opportunity. I'm not sure if this band's ever going to come back. Like, I know in your mind this is a whatever, but like, dude, this is bragging rights to any metal friends that you have growing up or, going into the future.
Right, like when I saw Bolt Thrower.
Oh, so JJ's into Bolt Thrower because he's in a Warhammer and he has a Bolt Thrower t-shirt. He's like, oh yeah, I got this Bolt Thrower t-shirt, Dad. I'm like, Bolt Thrower is one of the greatest death metal bands ever. So this whole weekend, I played him the whole discography. He's like, I like it, but I don't understand what they're singing about. I'm like, I get it, Bubby. But if you read their lyrics, it's like once you read their lyrics, you almost decoded the lyrics. And that makes it even more fun, But
they were one of the most heaviest bands and Benediction.
Benediction.
I saw Benediction, Autopsy, and Bolt Thrower, $30 at the Glass House.
At the Glass House, yeah.
2013, they played 3 shows.
I was at that show. That was That was Bolt Thrower's last show.
Yeah, because the drummer died.
Yeah, the drummer died.
Yeah, I was there.
I was there as well. I got the T-shirts. Jackson's got the T-shirt for that.
I bought a T-shirt for Richard at that show because they were like $10.
Yeah. Yeah,
they were like 10 or 15
That's
bucks.
like I say. I got my shirt. I don't know who I was with. I might have been with my ex-wife. I know she got a shirt.
I still have my Benediction T-shirt.
I still have my
because they had the tour dates on the back.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, dude. That's
why you buy them, because the goddamn tour dates. Yeah, so I got that. I remember buying an extra shirt, and then somehow Jackson ended up having it because it's a chaos symbol. And then once again, he's got into Warhammer, and I told him, like, War Master is Warhammer art. He's like, I know that. I was like, cool. And the only reason why he knows about the band is because he's into Warhammer. Awesome. I was like, dude, any way I can get my son into death metal, I'll take it.
Yeah. That was the best era for me in terms of going to shows like 2013, 2014, because it was that whole time of feeling like there was like a collective of people that.
Did you go to the Scion show?
I went to a bunch of Scions.
Did you go to the one in downtown Pomona?
Yeah.
Where they had Morbid Angel and Obituary.
So that was the only year I didn't go to. Oh. They did multiple things.
Yeah, they did multiple ones. So I lived in the I lived down there at the time. Yeah, I lived in the Progress building. Yeah. They're right next to the Fox Theater.
Yeah, that's where they were.
Yeah, I was literally outside my door. I just walked around. I got like some of the best socks I ever had. It was a Scion socks. They gave a thumb drive. I got a T-shirt. I still have the Scion T-shirt. The posters already ran out. I was pissed with that it had that, but dude, that was literally my stomping grounds, man. And it was awesome because, like I say, I saw Atheists. The Atheists played. I never saw Atheists before.
Yeah, that was the same show. That was the same show.
Yeah, and it was right next to the Glass House. Yeah, Immolation. Oh yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's dope. And once again, breaks my heart that Scion's not around anymore to keep doing that because they put on some of the best metal shows.
I think people took advantage and didn't understand the gravity of those shows, though.
Yeah, they didn't.
That's
they did. They really didn't. Yeah,
because they had some amazing bands, man. I remember
some amazing bands. Yeah. No, that's cool that you even have that, man. That's rare. I have the compilation.
I have the vinyl. I have this on vinyl too.
Dope. Yeah, Revelation's so sick.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Exhumed, a bunch of times play those fests. I saw and I'm super grateful I got to see it before he died too, was Power Trip. I saw Power Trip.
Oh, Power Trip.
Before
the singer died, right?
Before their big album. It was like on their first album.
Gotcha.
And they were great.
Was it in Pomona?
Yeah, dude, it was at the Glass House.
The Glass House.
Played with Speed Wolf and
Yeah.
I liked all those bands, so
Pomona, huge special place, Pomona. I'll always love you.
I love the Glass House. That was always a great place.
Yeah, the Glass House and the Fox Theater. The Fox Theater is.
I've seen Obituary just kill that fucking that place.
Yeah, I saw them there. I saw Caius when Caius came back.
Ooh,
I saw
great.
Yeah, I saw Stone Temple Pilots there. I saw Flaming Lips there.
Yeah, you've seen a lot.
I've seen a lot.
But that Bolt Thrower show to me is the best death metal show I'll ever go
My
to.
only complaint with it, they didn't play it long enough.
That's true.
They didn't play it long enough. I'm all, you sons of bitches. I waited my entire life, and you guys played like a half an hour or something like that. They would put like 4 shows in the States. It was like 4.
It was like 3. They played Maryland Death Fest and
Chicago.
Chicago, and then
Is that what it was?
California. That was it.
Yeah, man.
And it sold, dude. It was $30.
Yeah, it was dirt cheap. Yeah, I remember my buddy Dallas Brown came in from
That's a show you fly
Utah.
into.
Yeah, he came. Yeah, he flew into Utah and came through.
Dude,
I don't know if he stayed. I think he stayed with me. Oh.
Especially like bands from the UK.
Yeah.
You know, Autopsy.
That guy's that was a legend. Oh, Autopsy's from California.
They're from San Francisco.
Yeah, it's California. Yeah. So I've seen Autopsy showcase.
They're amazing.
Yeah, and they each there was the first band I ever saw where each band member switched instruments. And I'm like, dude, you guys can all do this?
That's awesome.
I was mad impressed, man.
Well, Benediction was like the heavy when they played Magnificant, the whole fucking floor was a circle pit.
Yeah, dude.
The whole
I love it.
And I was on top of
I love it.
You know where they're selling the merch, that little awning that you can look over?
Yeah.
Dude, you were there obviously. Maybe you didn't see this part of it, but literally when they played that particular track, I'd never seen a circle pit that big before.
You know,
they were just the heaviest band of that night.
I don't think I seen them because I lived next door and I drank at the time.
Oh,
so I was partying real hard, man. Like I remember bits and pieces of that night. I don't remember all of it, but I just remember literally like just flashes of certain things. I could have seen them, but I don't think I did. Because I remember just going back up to our place and we were partying. Right. Like we're just because
Autopsy was super heavy and then Bolt Thrower like
Bolt Thrower. Dude, but no. So that was a Bolt Thrower and no. So I did see it. That's at the showcase. No. I'm not sure. That was at the Glass House. It wasn't at the I was thinking of the Fox Theater. They didn't play at the Fox Theater. Okay, cool. Because I thought they were playing at the Fox Theater.
No, it was just those 3 bands.
Yeah. And Morbid Angel played at the Fox Theater too, right?
That's right.
It was a Obituary and then Morbid Angel too, right? Okay, because once again, and then they also had next to the Fox Theater, they had that outside. It was an outside stage, but it was like a canopy over it.
I don't.
It was right. Remember. So they had 3 stages going on that night. So there was a lot of partying. I remember just going all the way around,
you could walk to
walk through everything. So
yeah, man, those were fun times, dude.
Yeah, and thank you, Scion, because there hasn't been a metal festival like that since then. Not
on that level. There's been other but again,
not on that level.
Here's a question for you, because the only explanation for me is they don't. How do people afford these shows nowadays?
I don't know. I think
like that show behind you, that was Motorhead, Testament, Heaven and Hell, aka Black Sabbath, and Judas Priest.
Oh, how much was that?
$120 for front row guardrail seats.
Dude.
Nowadays, you have to mortgage your fucking house for that.
And that's what's killing it. That's what's killing the shows. That's what's killing it for me.
No, it's the people are what's killing it. When fans keep paying it, that's what's killing it.
Yeah.
Like stop paying those exorbitant prices for bullshit.
I don't know. I don't understand. I got friends that they go to they'll see, I don't know, whoever that's almost dead, and they're just paying like $500 to like $1,000. Like I could care less. I don't
want to go see. Pantera.
The tribute band. I was grateful. I've seen them. I've seen them when they're all alive. I remember seeing them open up for Black Sabbath with Ozzy, and it was at the Forum before they tore it down. And I saw
the Forum is still there.
Or was it? They tore down something. It was the Coliseum, not the Coliseum. There was something they tore down.
Okay, yeah, it wasn't the Forum. But my point on this. Like, I ain't going to mortgage my house to fucking go see a show.
I won't remember it.
The Black Sabbath thing that's coming out or whatever.
Oh, Ozzy's like last hurrah.
Whatever. People are paying like $6,000 and shit. I'm like, dude, it ain't worth it.
Well, I mean, to them it is, I guess. I mean, they're probably the last chance they'll ever see it.
Well, wait a minute. But that's why they're able to get away with this, because people make the excuse of that, they justify for their bad decision making and paying up absorbent amount of price. Like people, they'll stop doing it once people stop paying it. Is my point. Supply and demand. So if people stop paying those absorbent prices, that's when it's going to stop. It's what's ruining the scene for me.
Well, I also isn't like Ticketmaster and all these other places, like
nobody can hear you.
I'm sorry, like Ticketmaster and all those other fees. Like, isn't those companies kind of killing the music?
Well, yeah, they're a monopoly.
Right, they're the ones
they're a monopoly,
I feel
dude.
They're the ones destroying it.
No, it's all the fans, because the fans keep paying it. It goes back to the fans.
Yeah.
It's like the grassroots level. I remember when when my dad was telling me he used to like go to Sears outside of or like Tower Records or whatever, and they would camp out.
Yeah,
I
used to do the same thing. I said my first concert was Lollapalooza '92, and we camped out in front of Music Plus.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was so much fun.
I wish it was like that today.
Oh, we have the internet. We have it on your phone. You got. Burr.
Yeah, but I wish there was a way to. It's like no internet. You only can get it at this place. Like Iron Maiden could get away with doing that. Are you kidding me?
No. A lot of big bands to make a thing out of it, make you really work for it, like
Yeah,
they used to
that's
do
right.
back in the day.
Well, dude, Iron Maiden did this thing, and I wish they continued doing it. Where it's like you had to bring your credit card that you purchased the tickets from to dissuade scalping. And I thought that was a genius idea.
Oh, so they have like the numbers. They can match up the numbers.
That's right. So you can't resell your ticket.
Cool.
And I don't think
I've never even heard of that.
I don't think people. I'm in the mindset of like, imagine if people couldn't resell their tickets. The whole thing would be changed, dude. Right? You have to use the same credit card you bought the tickets.
What if you couldn't go and like, oh damn, I got to work, or kid got sick, or I got hurt?
Then you don't go and you forfeit the tickets.
But I'd want to give you the ticket.
You would have to come up with a system that would make.
But you know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of people, if they bought the ticket 6 months from, I just say that from like Burning Man.
Well,
like when we go to Burning Man, like you have to buy the tickets now, and it doesn't happen until August. There's a lot of stuff that could happen between now and August.
Then you would forfeit the tickets, and then that person would have to buy them. I don't know. I just think it was genius to do that. And then, but again, people got kind of like sore, like, oh, what if I can't go? And blah, blah. It's like,
Sure.
you can't go. You bought tickets, but the tickets wouldn't be $500. They would be like,
right.
They would be like 50, 60, whatever. But
what about you know that Sphere?
But then you can't play any Live Nation venue because they own all the venues and shit. It's like a fucking monopoly.
Yeah.
They're the promoter. They're the ticket agency. They own the venue. How are they able to get away with it? I don't know. But
are they under Golden Voice too?
That's different.
That's different.
That's
okay.
different.
I know Golden Voice owns a lot, and they have a lot for festivals and stuff too.
Well, that's different. But Live Nation is like the main one.
Yeah.
Them and Ticketmaster are the same company.
Ticketmaster for sure.
Well, they're the same company.
That came. It's cool thing about Pearl Jam. They're the ones kind of brought all that to everybody's attention because I didn't know.
Yeah, but then they now work with Ticketmaster and Live Nation.
I mean, they're once again though, like it's
because they're forced to.
Yeah, they're forced to. It's
Journey,
that shows you.
Well, Journey tried doing it, and they've been blacklisted from Live Nation. That's why they don't play their venues.
Germany?
Journey.
Oh, Journey. Okay. Yeah, man. Like,
but I'm saying, going off of your point, yes, that's part of what's killing it. But the main part is people keep paying these exorbitant prices.
Yeah,
it's all of our faults, really, at the end of the day. We're finding our own demise as far as music goes.
Well,
man.
going back, so they have the Sphere, right, in Vegas. They have that big giant sphere, and it's all these LEDs, and they have like some shows in there. I know the Dead and Company and U2 was like the first band to play in there, and it looks amazing. Even if there's not a show, like the tickets are pretty pricey, man. It's almost like $100 just to, which I'm sure is probably worth it. That's
my threshold. I would not pay more than like $100.
Well, my thing is like, well, is it an hour? Is it 3 hours? Like, how long is it? Is it 30 minutes? You know what I mean? Because $100 is a lot of money, man. For me, it's a lot of money. Like, I could do a lot of things for $100. Like, I can buy a lot of a lot of art supplies. You know, me and back, the first thing I think of like leather, like studs, leather, like hardware, grommets. You know, that's what I'm thinking, or like art supplies. You know, you can go to a thrift store and buy a bunch of fun stuff for $100. But my thing is that I've seen so many shows in my life. I've done a lot of things in my life. That's just going to be one more thing. I'll be like, it's cool. I'm sure in the moment I'll be like, oh my God, this is amazing. This is rad, life changing. But then once it's over, you give it 5 more years, I barely remember it. I'm like, yeah, I remember that. Think that one thing was kind of cool, I guess, you know, because my memory sucks,
Right.
man.
So-
like it's a hard drive's full of adventure, and it's hard to pick and choose. Like I say, Benediction. I'm like, I feel like I know, I saw the whole show, so I know I've seen them, but I just don't remember like that one spot. But I'm a bigger fan of Bolt Thrower than I am anybody else.
It doesn't matter. We've seen the bands.
Yeah,
is
we've
my
seen the
point.
bands for sure. I know
So,
that, and I've seen them before.
And I'm very grateful that like me particularly, I came in on the era of like the Last Bastion. Like,
Yeah.
you know, I saw all these bands. Like, even if they weren't in their prime, I wasn't paying prime prices for bands.
I'm really like grateful, super grateful. I've been on the pulse of some bands before they got big, because I was able to see them. Like, it's really cute, like, because Jackson, he's 14 now. He's getting into more music. I always say, all right, JJ, what do you want to listen to? Like, this weekend it was metal. And then before you'll say about Nirvana. I'm like, oh, Jackson, I was supposed to see him. I was supposed to go with a friend of mine, and I was just going to catch him later on, and then he ended up dying. And then the other one was Alice in Chains. I'm like, oh, Bubby, I seen Alice in Chains. I seen him at the Palladium, and I got a long sleeve, and my mom bought me the long sleeve. This is one of the sweetest things my mom has ever done. She bought me an Alice in Chains, because at the time I was a kid. I love that band. I mean, I still love them.
I love them.
But she bought me a long sleeve, and it was so before I went to the show, I had the long sleeve before anybody else. When I was standing in line, I was like 15 or something, and I still have that shirt. And I was telling Jackson about that. I was like, yeah, I saw them. And then, like, all the bands that he's getting into, I'm like, oh, yeah, I saw, you know, like, I'll play, like, Stone Temple Pilots. I've seen them a couple times. You know, Soundgarden, I've seen Soundgarden. So it's cool. I'm at the age, like, I could tell my son, I'm like, yeah, man, like, your dad's a little cooler than you think, man. Like, I've seen a lot of these great bands way back in the day. And I'm grateful for it, because I told him, like, you only have so much time and money to do certain things. I had a lot of friends that were into sports, you know. I'm like, cool, that's your thing. This is my thing. Like, I don't have all the money to be. I don't want to go see basketball, football. I'm like, that's not. I mean, if I would go for some friends to go, but if I have a choice, if I'm going to a concert, see one of my favorite bands, or, you know, the band I want to see, or go see the Dodgers, like, I'm just gonna go see a band. That's just what I'm into. No disrespect to that. It's just not my thing. You know, but if no shows were going on, and me and a couple of my buddies want to go, yeah, back then it was like $13 a ticket. You know what I mean? It's affordable. Like, you can go. The most you're going to spend is probably on a hot dog, and it's like, and I was too young to be drinking anyway, so I'm not going to spend money on alcohol. But I'm grateful that I was able to see a lot of shows, and you and I both know back then there was way more venues for all ages than there is now.
We've talked about that
to
death on this
to
program.
death, I know, but it's true, and it gave me the opportunity to see so many great bands that nobody can see anymore, because I can't take my son, he's 14, I can't take him to a lot of shows.
And that's what's killing music too.
Mm-hmm.
The next generation is unable to get into the next. It's too expensive.
Yep.
Not a lot of venues. There are not a lot of places to take, you know, not underage kids to, you know, sons and daughters to go see
Right.
Bands play. Like,
Right.
The only time you are ever able to do that is at a festival, where you're paying exorbitant prices for it.
And how foolish they are, because if I was able to take my kids, instead of now buying one ticket, I'm buying 3 tickets. Instead of buying 1 T-shirt, I'll probably end up buying 2 to 3 T-shirts, or whatever they would want, just to have the memorabilia to get them into that, right? So that you're already tripling your money if you're allowing a parent to bring their kids in, because every parent wants to spoil their kids. Like, dude, this is your first concert, whatever you want.
Yeah.
You whatever poster. I'm easy going to drop $200 on you because it's your first concert.
Well, dude, it's very. I shouldn't say sad. I'm grateful that the venue exists, but it's kind of sad that like Sideshow offers one of the only venues for all ages.
Yep, absolutely, man. And it was cute because Valet and I were able to headbang to Sacred Origin. Like, that was really cool. I'm like, I don't know where else I can, they're not, my kids are not into the genre, but they know how passionate I am about it, and they're excited because I'm excited, and they just, want to bang their head, like, because they think it's funny or whatever. I'm like, yeah, I'll bang your head. Yeah, it's just, but this is a talented band. You should check them out. This is like a rare opportunity. I can't take you to the bars. I'm not going to go to LA and take you to some sleazy place where I feel that you're going to be in danger, because there's some bad areas, man, that a lot of these metal shows pop up at.
And that's why it's super important that they have that specific, they
a
have
safe
backstage.
Space.
Yeah.
Just a safe space.
And it's all ages, and like they're down there.
Yeah, Sideshow's the best.
I'm so grateful I got to document that.
Yeah.
Place. And not to get on another tangent here, but I'm discussing with Sherman, we're in the process of doing it. We're going to make it happen. He's down for it. I'm down for it. You're down for it.
I'm always down.
I spoke to you about it.
No, I'm always down.
You're like, I'm down for whatever. Just let me know.
Yep, give me the date.
I had this idea of doing a 1-year anniversary.
That's right.
To celebrate the film, and then bring people back to Sideshow, celebrate that.
I think it's a great idea.
All I would need is like a white tarp and then like a projector or something, and like put it through the mixing board, because I got a mixing board. So it's like,
I have one of those screens. I mean, it's not very big.
Well, what I'm saying, we would get like a tarp, and then we'd have chairs and and make it free.
He doesn't have one in there. He doesn't have.
I'm sure he does.
I would imagine he would.
Sure he does.
Well, at least behind the stage.
But we'll get into specifics at a later date. But what I'm saying is, I thought it would be a cool idea of like, celebrate the film. It would celebrate the venue, the facility again. Bring people back to like, and then maybe people haven't seen the movie, so now they'll get the opportunity to see.
There's one more excuse to have a party, baby.
Oh, that too, and another excuse to like see your friends that you maybe haven't seen.
That'd be great to see Sherman again. He's such a great guy.
Yeah, maybe have like a popcorn vendor there. And
definitely.
You could do some live art.
I'm definitely planning on doing live art.
Since you did the poster or whatever.
All about
you
it.
Could sell prints.
Yeah, well,
you could sell prints of the poster.
Oh, didn't even think about that. I could do that.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm all about it. Well, and then I want to bring, like I said, bring my kids again.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
That's what matters. I just want to be able to bring my kids.
Yeah, but this is a movie, and what's cool about it too.
They've already seen it. They've already been a part of it.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll want to be a part of it again.
Oh, of course,
their dad was a part of it.
Yep.
And their buddy,
of course,
their buddy T was
absolutely.
And it's just another excuse too, where it's not a show. Like, it's another.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration of culture.
That's right.
Yeah.
Super important.
Super important. I agree 1,000%.
I think that's a great place to leave off on this particular episode here.
Yeah.
Tony, I want to thank you very much again for coming on.
Oh, my pleasure,
T. I can't even remember how many we've done of these. We've been doing it.
Yep.
I went back in the archives. It's been 10 years.
10 years, buddy. Honored to have you bring me out.
It's amazing.
It's so much fun. I'll chit chat with you. We can hang out, talk about our passions. Yeah, man, that's all it's about. I'm glad, like I said, I'm glad you do it. I'm grateful that it's like we've talked about this before. Once again, it's so important, man, just to document just all these fun people that actually make the scene.
Well, yeah, not only that, but it's like I like the fact that you don't have to be in a band for me to be able to like talk to you. Like I really enjoy talking with other kinds of
you're talking to
people.
Boy Josh Smith.
Like that was really
sick
cool.
Tattoo artist, loves metal, huge fan, I mean, like, but he's also, he might not be in a band, he might not be recording, but he does tattoos. Yeah, right. Like he's still
a human being.
He's still a human being, but he's still adding to the culture.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to. We don't even have to talk about music or whatever.
Right.
I mean, we literally talked about like politics and things, and I
he loves it. Yeah,
I enjoy all that.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah, he's a good guy.
I want to thank you again, seriously, for just the opportunity and like your immense talents and giving bands like us an opportunity to work with you.
My pleasure.
Because it does get us to that next level, and that's like super important. I don't think bands realize like how important the visual aspect is to get it on that next level. So, yeah, just thanks for all that you do, man. I'm looking forward to the finishing the film.
Yeah.
Now that I got this creative spark it's igniting, and I'm super excited, and I'm just stoked. I'm like finally at a place now. Yes, I've had my ups and downs.
Oh, we all do, buddy.
You know, but it's been a great day, and just thanks for the opportunity and letting me work with you.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
Let me document you on another
honored. I'm honored that you even care.
Avenue that's not a podcast, because I think having the film in your hands would be a big deal for like maybe it'll influence you to get your book out.
You're right. I feel you, T. I feel you, buddy. You're 100% correct.
You know, I don't know. I'm just saying.
I like how you roll, buddy. I like how you hit me on different angles. Good.
You know, I'm just trying to keep you on your toes.
Yeah,
here,
I'm glad. I need it.
But Tony, everybody can find Mr. Tony Koehl at sketchthesoul.com.
Yep.
Any other places you like to send people?
Well, I'm going to be doing here in a couple months. I'm going to be doing live art in Arkansas, the Arkansas Death Fest. Sorry about that. The Arkansas Death Fest, and that's going to be cool. And then also in October, I'm going to be doing the Big Island Death Fest in Hawaii, and then I have a couple other things that Sherman, the side show, and then there's a couple other festivals that I just haven't heard back from. But yeah, I always got things planned and stuff always in the works for sure. So thank you again, T.
I love it. We're out of here. Cheers.
Cheers. Right on, brother. Always a pleasure, man.